Okay. Hey there, friendlies. How is up? I hope that was long enough to get us over that irritating advertisement that most likely popped up before we could get the show on the road. I'm just going to check to see how many peeps we got with us here. Let's just pop out the chat to make it a little easier on my poor little self. Who we got? Hey, Grace. Grace in the house. Fab. Just popping in to say hello. Just got to get up at 4. Ouch. Workday. All right. I guess Fab is already gone. Good night in absentia. Hey, Cliff is here. This better be entertaining or I'm going to drop a nice little warm fox present in the chat. That's disgusting, but thanks for the words of encouragement. Yeah, we'll call it encouragement. Mr. Pine Martin in the house. Good to see your name. Canadian, how's it going? All right, nice little team we got here. Sam Jackson in the house. Nice to see you. So, how is every little button? That really didn't come out the way I wanted it to come out. I wanted to say, how is everybody? I got a tea. Oh, it's getting a little cold. I got a little water here. I got the heel. I have a bottle of whiskey. I'm foregoing the beer tonight. As you guys know, I did a dry week recently, and the weight loss that it gave me, I think I mentioned this in the last live stream, or it was on someone else's. The weight loss that I enjoyed sort of made me think, let's just drink a little less on the regular from now on. I don't necessarily have to do another dry week right away. I will do one every quarter, but let's just cut it down a little bit. So instead of the beer and the whiskey, I'll just have the whiskey. My sinuses are going crazy again. Definitely something down in this basement that I am allergic to, but that's okay. Hey, Hike with Mike is in the house. Nice to see you. You know, how many of you guys know who Kenneth Cram is? Salut Simon. Salut Mark. Salut les boys. Mark. No, I did a dry week up until last Wednesday. Carol in the house as well. How many of you guys know who Kenneth Cram is? I think I've asked this before, and like some of you knew, but not everyone. Excuse me. It skipped. Cliff says I need to eat a super hot pepper that will clear the sinuses big time. I made a hot sauce from habaneros fairly recently. It was delish. Deep Bay Homestead in the house. Hi, Sharon. It took me a few days to figure that you were the same person, Sharon, over on Russell's online experience. Yeah, the reason why I was going to bring up Kenneth Cram is because he did I've probably spoken about this to you guys before because I'm interested in this kind of stuff. He did I think it was one video or maybe like a small series on like really traditional, almost hobo camping. You know, you roll everything up in a wool blanket, you sort of tie it over your shoulder with a stick or whatever. And I keep thinking about that because I am dying for a traditional, straight up, off-white, 4-color, twin-sized, I guess, Hudson's Bay blanket to do that with, but in a sort of a more Canadiana flavor. So I keep looking at the prices of those Hudson's Bay blankets. Is the twin the 3.5 point? Is that it? Double is like 3.5 point is twin. Double is. Do I have that? Am I adding one? Then double would be 4 point. No, because 4 point is a queen, isn't it? I don't know. The small one that would be perfect for like hobo camping with. But they're still like $350, even for that tiny one. If I had the money, I would buy it anyway. I think they're absolutely worth it. Straight up wool and everything, but I want the queen sized one for our bed upstairs. I think It would be amazing. But that's a lot of want. That's a lot of first world problems happening right there. One day I'll have at least one of those. I just want to make sure I'm not Canadians laughing at my word. Well, it is kind of an experience. Russell's Discord is quite the place. Cliff says habanero are on the low side of the scale. You need a ghost pepper or higher to really get them clear. I kind of gotta train myself up a little bit because habaneros are still pretty hot. They're still hot peppers. I pop back a habanero just like that, and I might be hurting for a little while. I do like spice though. Here's the thing. I like spice, but it's got to have flavor as well. Like when I'm tasting hot sauces and stuff, I don't mind if it makes me beg for it, but there's got to be like some flavor in there as well. If it's nothing but punch, that's not a sauce. That's a dare, a dare in a bottle. Hey, Nate's here, Nate Muskoka, and of course he has one of those damned. But yeah, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Bedroll, canvas tent. I want to do like a bunch of videos with these really old things, and it's like they're all so expensive. But one day I'm gonna do it. When my channel's paying enough, I might just start throwing some serious money into stuff like that, just to make the videos and enjoy the experience. Yeah. The queen, the king size is almost $600, I think, because I think the queen is 5 something. Hey, Serge in the house, but I'm not pouring beer tonight. Serge should have been here last week. I did pour a beer. Yeah, they do photograph well. Absolutely. I see getting a Hudson's Bay blanket as more than just a bedroll thing. I see it as like if I'm doing product reviews, right? Do the especially when I'm doing like a Canadian belt knife or something. There's the thumbnail, right? Belt on the Hudson's Bay blanket. Like they're just so photogenic. Is photogenic only for people, or is that for anything that photographs well? Can we just move on? But like the photo possibilities, especially for more traditional gear, just endless. Canadian says the idea of peppers is flavor, not to burn your colon out. I wasn't really going to put it that way, but everything jumped. Hold on, I'm going to catch up. Hey, David Evans in the house. How's it going? Yes, Cliff, we do. Within the hour. There are a couple still downtown. They're a lot rarer than they used to be, though. They're a lot rarer than they used to. There used to be like a good 6 downtown, sort of on the plateau area. Not like on Saint Laurent Boulevard, which if you're from here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, it doesn't matter. There's an area that used to have a lot of them. I think there's only like 3 left. I really think that online retail has killed a lot of the more interesting, smaller scale brick and mortar retail models. Army of Surplus, man, everyone's just eBaying stuff or going to Veristalika, so it's too bad. I used to go in and look at stuff all the time, but I'm also never downtown anymore, like almost ever. Maybe I should go down and take a look. In fact, I got the wool blanket that I do take to the woods. It's a Canadian Forces surplus that I got from there. Exactly the same blanket as I had in basic training and junior leadership school back in the cadets. Everyone's just saying hi. I'm just sort of trying to catch up because I'm already late. I mean, we're only starting. And you know, it's funny because Canadian is saying one can buy a decent wool blanket at the safety supply spots. They have them for basket rescue cages a lot cheaper. I in the town in which I live, it's very bad for finding like axes in the antique stores, wool blankets in the thrift stores, like all the stuff. Like this, you guys know Outdoor Dauber, right? That guy will walk into whatever is their big ticket thrift store called, um, Goodwill, and he'll come out with like, I got a carbon steel pan, I got a tin pan, I got a woolen blanket, I got a this, I got a that, and I go into my local places, and it's nothing but junk. So I need to do a road trip down into Maine, buy up a million like antique pieces of furniture or something to make my house really nice. Pick up some axes while I'm down there and see what their surplus situation is like too. Simone says, I hate Russell's Discord. As soon as I signed in, we got flooded with work at the office. I see a direct effect there. Call that the Russell effect. S3, Raven Flintlock, nice to see ya. Your malls are emptying out. Yeah. And in fact, even I have done that. I don't know what the term is when you go into a brick and mortar store to try something on, and then you order it online once you know what the size is you're looking for. I don't remember what the term is for that, but I'm just making sure I'm not around where Cliff lives. I was gonna say Flick. Fox hit Cliff. Sorry. Around where I live, we've lost 4 Goodwills. One was a 10-minute drive from me. The nearest is roughly. Oh, so even Goodwills are closing. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Whoops. Editing tonight, hence this profile with the new progress. You know what? I didn't put out a video last week, and I'm not putting one out this week. I have a gig with my band for the first time in 2 years on the 20th. So I've been doing a lot of practicing. And because editing takes so long right now because of all the loops I have to jump through in order to do it, I'm just taking a break until after. I don't know where I put my phone until after the one on the 20th, because that's the one I have to essentially relearn like 70 songs that I haven't played in 2 years. Once that's out, once that's done, once that's behind me, I'll get back to the editing heartache. Canadian actually orders. Wow, interesting. Man, you must be wool blanketed right up, because man, there is one of my favorite bushcraft items is actually my wool blanket. Yeah, it's probably way better around where you live. Again, yes, if they survive COVID. Mal in the house. How's it going, Mal? Wow, everything just went jump. Okay, so even where you live, Cliff, it's getting harder to find. Yeah, absolutely. Mal, you've been spending all your time on TikTok. Okay, I try to spend a lot more time on TikTok, but I just all it is like dancing hotties and people saying stupid things about our native cousins. So I'm having a real hard time with TikTok. However, I came across a really wicked recipe for a mushroom risotto today, so I might try that. So maybe TikTok will redeem itself in that way. But you know, I just the last thing I need to see when I pick up my phone is some other dancing or the memes. But you know, I'm just taking a look. Canadian, I think do you work in a tool store? Kenneth Cram, Hudson's Bay blanket. Right, I'm getting back onto Like, how many of you guys like the idea of going real old school, something like that for a bushcraft or a camping trip? Because I wouldn't do that full time, that's for sure. I do like what technology has gotten us in terms of modern, like in terms of having a tent that doesn't weigh like 30 kilos in your backpack kind of thing, or on your sled or whatever. In terms of, all that stuff, where we are right now is in some ways I find like a golden age. But there's part of me that really likes that real old school kind of, you set up your camp and you half expect it to end up like painted on the cover of an old like Field and Stream magazine from the 50s or something. There's something about that. There's a real magic to that kind of stuff. I mean, but the fact is, everything sucked harder back then. It's like, those old 57 Chevys. My dad was, he lived through that era. And, he feels a real pull towards those cars. But, he was saying that, look, the reason why we were always under our cars on the weekend isn't because we were manly men. It's because cars kind of sucked back then. And like, even kind of a B-list car manufacturer these days runs way smoother and way longer than those old, big iconic 50s era cars, 40s era, even early 60s era cars. They don't rattle themselves apart. They don't need to be retightened every Saturday anymore. But there are a lot of people who still want those old cars. There's a pull towards that stuff. There's a pull towards the classic stuff. It's the reason why I like old hand planes so much. Old axes back in the day that I've mentioned this to you guys a lot, when building a good axe wasn't building a good axe. It was just building an axe. Making a really good hand plane was just the way you did it. But you had to be really strong of back to carry like as much stuff as you'd take on an overnighter today. That would be a way bigger backpack then. Way bigger. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, you manage an industrial supply company. Okay. No, you don't. You don't have to do a dancing trend video. No. Oh, that stuff pisses me off. No, it doesn't piss me off. Whatever. They're having fun, and that's fine. It's just I wish I could tell TikTok to not show me that stuff, because I feel that it's a waste of my time to see it. Even just like the second it takes before I scroll, it's like, leave me alone. Oh, sinuses, cut it out. Yeah, Cliff, I don't have that gear either. And it's funny because when I was growing up, we did have that gear because that was the gear. But like with Mike, he and me both, man. Represent old school. Take it back to the old school. I'm just taking a look at hey, Tenenbaum is here. Tenenbaum, you sent me something. It left Sweden on the 12th of November and is somewhere either in the air or on the ocean right now, because it has not shown up in Canada yet. As soon as it does, I will get my camera out and shoot an unboxing video. Hi, good Mike. I believe that those people like you who don't do social media are probably happier than those of us who are socialed up the wazoo. I think Facebook's especially has contributed to more generalized anger and outrage than is healthy. I have no scientific data to back that up. I would not go to the mats for it, but I feel that. I also feel that I need to be up on every new social medium because I have a 10-year-old daughter whose friends are all jumping right into that, and I have to know what I'm talking about if I say, no, you cannot have a TikTok account. I can't be one of those parents who just like, it's new, I don't know it, so you can't have it. No, I don't feel that is a reasonable approach to parenting. Knowing what it is and saying, fuck no, that's fine. We had this discussion about some online game that I've never played. Fortnite. She wanted to try Fortnite. Her friends were playing Fortnite. I was not against her trying Fortnite. The adults in her life were non-unanimous about that, so it didn't happen. But the thing is, what I knew, look, I mean, I've played a lot of online games, okay? I know that people say really stupid things. My approach was, look, if I learn to play it and I play it with Camille, then I can be part of her developing her persona in that milieu. And through my reactions, I can show her how to react if someone calls someone else up, I don't know. I don't know. Like whatever the stupid insulting language people use with each other, like I can be there to sort of guide her away from doing that and away from taking it if someone else does it. Whereas she's going to play this game. She'll probably learn about it at a friend's house, and I will have abdicated my responsibility to make sure that she at least has a good influence related to that experience. That was a very circuitous way of saying what I wanted to say, but it's because I kind of wanted to not sound like get off my lawn, but I also didn't want to make you guys think that I'm laissez-faire, just sort of like let her do whatever she wants. So yeah, all that to say, Hike, I think that you're probably better in your head than I am, partly because of that. Oh man, I'm so far behind. Everyone's just saying hi to each other. Mark likes the old open canvas shelter that Bill Mason used. Yet I've never had one, and it's only good for canoe camping, not backpacking. Did he use it's the one that's open in the front, right? What the hell is it called? Is that a ranger tent? No, it's I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what it's called. I also like those too, but I kind of feel that black fly season and I was going to say spaghetti season. What? Mosquito season would make that tent really hard to enjoy for a significant period of the warmer half of the year. David, I still lurk on my daughter's social media just so I know what she's up to. Did I say she's in her mid-30s? Hey, Russell in the house. I forgot to send Russell the traditional invite. Come on, Jess. Come on now. Russell, I was just blithering on about like some uber traditional camping gear that I'd like to maybe at some point put together and do a few episodes of camping with an old school bedroll, stuff like that. By the way, guys, because I really have to practice for the 20th at like 11, I'm shutting her down. Just so y'all know. And then I will go and do the practicing. I'm just seeing what I'm so far behind. I'm trying to sort of skip forward here. Stacy, did you write a story yet? I tried to write one. I have half a line. Bill Kurtz in the house. How's it going? Stacy, I saw your video where you got sick, and I'm definitely sorry to have heard that. I definitely have to find a way to get a drone, because those drone shots make me want a drone like you would not believe. Even like Russell, whenever he does a drone shot, man, I want a drill. A drill. It's not as easy as just running out and buying one, for several reasons that I'm not going to go into here. But and it's funny because I don't think I would use it that often, but there are a couple of things. There's one style of shot that I really want for like my opening sequence that I cannot do from the ground. Yes, thank you, man. Martin always knows a Baker style tent. That's what I was looking for. I knew it wasn't a Ranger style tent, but I was in sort of the Sonic neighborhood. Why do I talk? Oh, really? I didn't know that you could have a Baker tent with a bug mesh across the front. That is interesting. I wonder where you would buy a Baker tent these days. I kind of like, I have my heart set on like a straight up, hot tent. But that Baker tent there's something cool about it. Mal's dad, biggest fan. My family does not watch all my videos, Mel. There's no way. Yeah, I don't think you're necessarily wrong about that. I think that one of the things that make drones okay right now is the fact that not everyone has one. I think that when every hiker, like, there's legality around it, right? You can't. I don't know about the States, but here, you can't have one in, I believe, a national park. Obviously, anywhere near an airport or a power station. Blah blah blah. Like, I sure as hell can't fly one over Montreal. I can't go Casey Neistatting or anything. But yeah, I think that when they become affordable enough that every hiker has one, I think it'll be significantly different. Excuse me, Longs Quest. How is it going? How is it going, Longs? Really? That's a good point about the storms. Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. I guess to me, when I see a Baker tent, I see like fall, yellow leaves, not on the ground yet, fire out front. Still like 10 degrees out kind of thing. Like, I have this real bucolic image in my head. And I guess you're right. Like, if the wind picks up and it's slashing rain and everything, not quite the same. All right, Mal's out. See you later, Mal. But Tyler's in. Hey there. Sweet. I was just I thought I saw a message come in. Tyler, I don't think I've seen you around for a while. Nice to see your name appearing in the side chat, monsieur. Just let me do a little something here. What we're talking about, I'm going to sneeze again. Hold on. Okay, we're back in business. What the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was just going to tell Tyler that I'm talking about how I would like to set up some very traditional camping stuffs to do a couple of episodes with, even if I'm not looking to do it like as my full-time camping solution. Hang about for 1 second. Oh, that had to be done. Hey, I forgot to do my housekeeping. Better late than never. Crumbs. It's 9:30. Okay, half an hour late, but I'm about to sneeze again. Jesus. Well, that's fun. Okay. What was I going to say? I have no idea. I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I was talking about how some real traditional camping stuff for like a few episodes, or like an episode de temps en temps, like every now and again, would be really nice. Sam Jackson is sidetracked learning to do the cubics. Hold on. Whoops. Yes, housekeeping. Okay. If you're watching me, time shift it to tomorrow or next week. Thank you. That means a lot to me, and it makes you my hero. If at any point tonight you like what you're watching, I would love it if you hit that thumbs up. If at any point tonight you really dislike what you're watching, feel free to hit the thumbs down. As long as you hit a thumb, I'm happy. Though, for some stupid reason, YouTube is not going to be showing the number of thumbs downs anymore to people who are not owners of the channels, because apparently people have been dislike bombing certain channels, which seems like a really crappy way to do it, to be straight with you. I'm not supportive of that at all. In fact, let me just check to see how many thumbs we have right now. Because we have 18 people watching. We had 19 at 30 seconds ago, and only 14 thumbs. What is up, my friends? What is up? Cabin Dweller, hit a thumb. Thank you for... Huh? Tunis just reviewed a nice hot tent. Tunis? I don't know that. Is that a channel I should be looking up? I will take a look. Look, I'm not in a position to buy right now anyway. But it's, I keep thinking mid-range plan kind of stuff. I would really like to not scattershot my approach to what my bushcraft purchases are going to be. It's like maybe I'm going to concentrate on canoe stuff for now, because by the time I can actually organize to take a trip, I won't be in the winter half of the year. So maybe I should be concentrating on like paddling stuff for now, and then look at winter camping stuff midsummer kind of thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm about to sneeze again. Sorry, guys. Hold on. This is bugging me. You know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm saying? Serge said, so I should thumbs down. What the hell? Serge, you cut me deep. A thumb. Any thumb. Any thumb will do. Because it shows engagement. David says, to Sam Jackson, I've downloaded Left 4 Dead 2, but trying to figure out how to play it on my Mac. Pam's computer is too full to play it there. I don't know if you can play that on Mac, but if it lets you download, maybe you can. Yeah, get the gear for when I can actually use it. Absolutely. Yeah, which is why I haven't bought a lot of stuff really lately, except for Grumman knife, because I have to take stock of what next year is going to look like, because I'm of the opinion that COVID will not be as big a factor. I think the possibilities for next summer are going to, well, the warm half of next year are going to be much, much better than they have been up until now. I'm optimistic, and I'd appreciate it if nobody ruined that for me tonight. Okay. So I want to see what I can plan for in 2022 and really like hone where my money goes. Because I don't like buying gear just for buying gear. I am surrounded by people who I used to know someone who is like, I'm going to write a novel, and she would buy special paper and pens, and she bought a typewriter because I guess we both really liked Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle. Notebooks, and like that scratched the itch or something, you know. I know a lot of people who do that, and I've done that before. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do X, and so I get supplied to do X, and it's like that's what it took to scratch the itch to do X, and no. So I yeah. So I'm gonna take stock before throwing my money around, I think. Sam Jackson is hitting all the bases, I see. I'm just sort of looking to make sure I'm not missing anything. I look at winter at hot tents every couple of years. Well, every few months, just sort of see what's out there. You know, like Esker makes ones that are easy for me to get because they're at Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company. There's a guy here in Quebec who makes a really cool tent as well. I don't remember his name. Little Quebec company making hot tents. He also makes stoves and stuff. One of my bosses, as in someone in the hierarchy above me at the day job, her husband bought one of his tents and and one of his stoves, and said that he wished he hadn't bought the stove, but that the tent was really good. Simon, do you know who that is? Quebec guy making hot tents. It's the end of a cup of tea. And you guys know what tea is, right? It's a good drink. Yeah, Serge is right. It's been a long time since somebody retracted a message. What's up with you guys? I'll be right back. So much fun. Is that really the end of the tea? It really is the end of the tea. It's okay. All right, Tenenbaum's going to retract first. Thanks, Mister. Good to keep it on the balance, right? David says I should go to Cabela's. I've tried to buy stuff from Cabela's online before, but the shipping has always sort of killed my purchase off in the last second. So maybe I do have to just walk into one. I'm afraid I'll walk out with a rifle that I'm never going to use, though. Like, I haven't been hunting in years at this point. Yes, we will, but it has to be after the 20th. I've used up my L4D2 time for this week. Sales, you got to pay attention. There's stuff happening here. There's the stuff going on. If you don't pay attention, you're not going to be on top of it, man. You got to be on top of it. You got to be on top, okay, of it by paying attention. Okay. Whoops. That wasn't the one I wanted to click on, Canadian, but it's good to know. You put up a pic? Okay. I do need a strong shot, especially because that Alberta Premier is like, the batch 3 is 66.7%, whereas this whiskey de Montreal is a very pedestrian 42%. It's not a bad whiskey. I'm just happy we're at 45% and up. Happy is probably at around 50%. Yes. Silver medal at the 2020 Concours Mondial de Bruxelles. So at the Brussels Spirits contest thing. I'm pretty I'm pretty jaded about like whiskey shows or whiskey competitions. There's a brand new one called the OSWAs. It's the Online Scotch Whiskey Awards, which is the distillers and their marketers have nothing to do with the OSWAs. It was started by two whiskey tubers who are very well respected, and both of whom respect what they call integrity bottlings, right? So there'd be a bottle with no chill filtering, no caramel coloring. Look, watering it down to 40% is not necessarily a non-integrity bottling, but have the quality in there. Excuse me. So they just had their inaugural. This isn't a whiskey channel. This is going to be boring for most of you, so never mind. I'm going to move on. Charles, you're late. It's okay. Just returned from the market. Did you get some good veg? Some good fruit and veg? I think, yeah, you're in California, right? So it's a whole lot earlier for you than it is for me. Hey, look at whose name has showed up in my... I don't believe Grey Wolf Outdoors has... Have you been in the side chat before? Have you been around? Whether you have or not, welcome to the party. Nice to see your name up here. David says, I may need to buy a Windows computer to play. Any recommendations? Man, the world has changed since back in the day. I used to sell computers, and there were companies like Compaq and what was the one that Gateway and on the higher end there were two companies I used to love. There was Sun Microsystems and there was Silicon Graphics, and I wanted an SGI workstation like you guys would not believe. I mean, I was still in like film school, right? Wanted an SGI, and Sun now is, I think, owned by Oracle, and SGI is I don't know who owns them, but they're just like a server farm company now, which makes me sad because they used to be very, very well regarded in the computer graphics, especially in the film and animation space. Canadian was at Cabela's yesterday. You drop a lot of cash there, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, David, what Raspberry Rock says is, it's not that important to play the game. The cool kids are doing it, but you don't have to do it. Buying a computer shouldn't be about the game. It should be about what you need to do your photography or video or maybe painting or just web surfing or whatever. Like that kind of stuff is your main concern. A game like Left 4 Dead 2 is old enough that almost anything you can buy these days, if it's relatively oomphy, will play it. Dash. Mute the YouTube page, Stash. He's trying to get his headset working, which tells me it's a Bluetooth headset.
Actually, it's like a Wi-Fi thing.
Wi-Fi? You are quiet, man. Turn up your turn up your input there. Nah, turn yourself up. It's almost as if you're coming through. Do you have a mic on your computer?
No, it's the mic over here.
Because you are wickedly quiet. Wickedly.
Sorry. And on top of it, if I cut out, it's because my internet sucks here.
Right. So you're waiting on Starlink?
No, I'm not. I'm waiting for the people in the area, either Videotron or Bell, to come down here because the government says to
Okay.
give them money otherwise.
Right.
We'll see about that.
Charles W. Philippines. Right. Sorry, man. I buggered that one. Sorry. And it is Grey Wolf Outdoors' first time at my live. Well, I kind of wish that I was doing a more interesting live then. Some of them are very, very good. I was just poorly prepared for tonight because I wasn't sure I was going to do one. So welcome to the game anyway. David Evans. I see. So you've got a Mac that's on its way out. Thinking going back to Windows anyway. It's funny because this is a Windows machine I'm on, and I don't even like Windows. This was supposed to be a Hackintosh. Does not work as a Hackintosh. I will get it fixed at some point, and then I will only use the Windows side for gaming on, because I have a lot of money tied up in Mac OS video and audio software, which I'm currently not using. Damn it.
Yeah, I wish you'd be able to do something about that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still pretty quiet there, Selch. Is that a new
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry. Hi guys.
It's
Hi everyone.
that old, but it's kind of annoying.
Yeah. We got Tyler. We got Mrs. Tyler. I don't know if I'm supposed to use her name on screen, so that
I think you can use her name.
We got Tyler, we got Nick.
Yeah.
And what's that dog's name again?
Sasha.
Show the dog
again. Come on. They want to see the dog.
Oh.
Come on. Hi, babies. Oh, thank you.
That looks like an old dog.
She is an old dog. I think she's 13 now.
Hmm.
You're old, huh?
Such a cutie.
Yeah. Big sweetheart.
Yeah.
Oh, she's sleepy. Uh-oh.
Sam is having a dram with me. All right, Sam. Nice to see. Not that I would insist, because I don't do the peer pressure thing. Sam, are you drinking something tonight?
Oh, geez, we're on stream.
My goodness. Yeah, I already had a Sleeman's earlier, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna have a whole bunch.
Right.
So.
Tyler, check this out.
Agreed. Mrs. Tyler is prettier, like by a long shot. Although I do have the longer hair now.
Do you?
I've got her beat.
It's true.
Yeah.
I just chopped mine. Do you want it out?
I don't know.
Fluff.
You're gonna have Nick cut yours next.
No, I've just decided I'm gonna grow it until I hate it,
Right.
and then I'll cut it. The problem is, like, the more I grow it, the more I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Right.
Hey.
Right. Fair enough. So Tyler, what we were talking about is actually right up your alley, I feel, because I was talking about Kenneth Cram and how he did some videos on like real traditional hobo camping bedroll stuff, and how I would like to do something like that based on a Hudson's Bay blanket and some old school tools. And I keep thinking about those old moccasins that you destroyed. And how that kind of stuff is probably like right up your alley anyway. You know?
Yeah, it is right up my alley. You said hobo camping. If none of you have seen the documentary Death of the American Hobo, go watch it.
Is that Netflixable?
Maybe. I mean, I know it's on YouTube Vice nowadays.
Yeah. YouTube what?
YouTube Vice, the Vice channel for YouTube. They have their own like articles and documentaries and stuff. But
Wow, never heard of that.
I was going to say, I was 5 minutes ago years old when I discovered YouTube Vice. I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, Vice is pretty big. I think they're on most social media platforms for doing like journalism and investigation.
Oh, it's Vice, like Vice.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Ah, okay. By the way, is my voice better?
Yes, much
Yes.
better.
Okay, fine. Moccasin story. Do you want the moccasin story? I'll give you the moccasin story.
Well, we have a lot of people here these days who weren't here when you told the moccasin story. So I want to hear it again because it makes me feel so good about my own disasters because I'm no longer as lonely in my, I don't want to say loserdom, but he's going to go and get the moccasins.
Okay, here we go. I got a good pair of them that we can look at. They're just out at the ready because every time I come on stream, you're like, yeah, I can tell the moccasin story.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if anyone here has ever hiked a river valley before, but
I've hiked a river valley.
Beautiful places to hike. I mean, like plant life, the wildlife. You see a lot of everything in a river valley.
Yeah.
This is super Midwestern of me. I love doing it though. Manistee River Valley is up here in Michigan, somewhere in there. So we drove up to Manistee, my father and I, and we wanted to go hiking the Manistee River Valley. One of the places we hadn't been. We usually hiked in the UP, Chapel Rock, Pictured Rocks, places like that, Tequamanon. But the western side of the Manistee Forest is really, really pretty. It's usually pretty temperate. There's a lot of clay and the soil changes really fast, so you see a lot of different plant life. I mean, and we're like, oh, we could hike through a birch grove and whatnot. And so we kind of speed into the hike, and we get about halfway through, camp out for the night. We're kind of just chilling at our campsite, and the next day we get up, and it's, instead of like 75 and sunny, it's like 70 and gloomy and getting gloomier. Those of you who know anything about like cell phone GPSs know that usually you can look at the map. You can't just always navigate. So we looked at our map. My dad at the time had an iPhone 5, and this was when Apple Maps was Apple Maps. I think this was 2015, so it was pretty bad. We're looking at the key, which I guess the key. There wasn't really a key.
I just want to say one thing to those of you who are either not American or not old. 70 Fahrenheit is about 21 degrees Celsius.
Yes. Ish. Is it 21? Is it really that high?
21.1 is 70. Yeah.
I always forget that Celsius degrees are bigger anyway. Anyway, right.
They're better. They're better.
You listen. We
much better.
Go with degrees Eagle Freedom on this channel.
I was gonna say I prefer degrees Canadian to degrees freedom, but that's just because I understand degrees Canadian. Whereas degrees freedom leave me kind of like, what's going on here, guys? 70. That sounds like it's almost like,
At least it works.
Boiling.
Here's the thing: if you go to 0 in degrees freedom, it's really, really cold. If you go to 100 in degrees freedom, it's really, really hot. So that much makes sense to me.
Fair.
Oh, for me, it makes sense in Celsius just because 0 freezes and 100 boils. So to me, that's clear in my head. But hey,
it's sensible enough. Just depends on what you grew up with.
I'm Canadian, eh?
Hey. Apple Maps. So we have the bad weather coming in. Not on radar, but like visually, we're looking off. And usually, when you're in the Great Lakes, bad weather comes from over the lake. Lake Michigan is right here, and it's just this big gap of water where storms can go across, get a bunch of energy, and then dump themselves on you. So we're looking, and it's coming from the west. And that's where Lake Michigan is at. And we're knowing full well if it's 70-some degrees or, 21.1 degrees, that's enough energy for a storm to get bad, especially in the summer. It picks up a lot of humidity as it goes over the lake. So we're looking at our Apple Maps and we're like, it looks like there might be a straight shot back to the car. So we get ready to navigate. And it looks like some mildly interpretable symbols on the map that appear to resemble a field and forest land. So the forest land is first. We hike through all of that, literally just a straight shot, take our bearing away from the trail and get going. everything goes fine. We go through a forest land. We had one bearing that was pretty clear to us. Sorry, not a bearing, a landmark that was pretty clear to us, which was a logging road. We hit that on time, so we know we were going the right way. And then we hit our field, which was like 3/4 of the way through there. And all of you noticed I just did air quotes because it wasn't a field. Anyone have ever involved themselves in a dying lake? A lake that slowly fills in with vegetation and swampiness.
Yes. Turns into like a marsh.
This lake had been dying for some time. And apparently what we thought meant field actually meant like marshland on the Apple maps. And I hike in moccasins. This is why I have these. I've been hiking in moccasins for like 15 years now. Oh my God, it's literally been that long. I've been wearing moccasin-esque things since I was a little kid. So, but like seriously for 10 years, legitimately like wearing this type of footwear for 15. It kind of.
Hey, I have a question about those mocks.
Yeah.
Why do you wear them so high?
Ticks, frankly, ticks and snakes.
Right. Okay.
When you hike Midwest, and I don't just hike Midwest, when you hike Midwest, one of the things you get to is
bog.
Yeah, bog.
Yeah, bog.
Bog is the word we're looking for.
Bog. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who is that? SV Raven?
Yeah, SV Raven.
Thank you, SV Raven, for bog. Right, moccasins. One of the things you get into is when you're hiking, especially river valleys, like I really like, water moccasins are pretty common, especially the further south you go. And I also like to hike Tennessee and Kentucky. And those places absolutely have snakes.
Yeah.
So it does help. These are buffalo hide. My first ones were calf skin. Buffalo hide's a little thicker, but a little softer on the inside for the flesh, I find.
Oh, the buffalo is a little softer?
The flesh side is softer. The outside is definitely a larger, rougher texture.
Okay.
But for some reason, I guess it's just because the animal is bigger, so the grain is looser, I guess it would be how I would describe it.
Yeah. By the way, I want to point out that Russell is sort of taking you down in a very Russell way. So wait, this is the first time he's ever taken them off? He said he's been wearing them for 15 years.
Yeah, the living armor item from D&D, they based it on my moccasins. Anyway.
Oh my God, that was the geekiest little way to take that.
I was about to say that only the nerds got that.
Where's
one.
My dice tray? Here we go.
Leave the dice tray alone.
It's pretty good, man. There's a lot of them. So we're going through this bog, and I realize two things. One, there is no way we're getting around this bog because we're 3/4 of the way through our straight shot, and this bog is long. Like, it was a river, and then it was a lake, and then it died, and now it's
no choice but to cross it. Then
right. It was obvious that like we were going to have to cross this thing, so I'm trying to step on the little bits of like peat that are semi-solid ground. And it's just hopeless. I mean, you get in there and it's just, and then you pull your foot out, and I literally would have rather stepped knee-deep in baby poop, dude. It was awful. It was awful. It smelled horrible. I mean, it was just like 1.5 feet of rotting organic matter sticking to my leg with every step. It was awful.
Which, by the way, is exactly what baby poop is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, except it smells better. God, it was so stinky too because we were right off of like a pine forest, so it was like all the rotting duff and stuff that birds drop while they're flying, going away from the pine trees. It's just
the image in my head is so unfortunate right now.
Oh, Christ! Every time I like think of this story, I think of more horrible details and ways to describe it. But anyway, we get back to the other side of the bog, and I'm looking at these poor moccasins. Minnetonka was my first like good hiking pair. All the other ones were just kind of like, I just got a kid gonna go hiking, yeah, get him, whatever. Minnetonka were the first ones, and they had kind of a chemi gum sole on the bottom of them. Crepe almost is the word for it. It's like a little bit like synthetic crepe, I guess.
Okay.
Crepe was fine, but the entire suede body of the moccasins was absolutely not fine.
Right.
Like, I could not have bleached away the horrible things I did to those boots.
Okay.
Never again. I will be navigating without a legitimate map with a written key ever. Because you end up making your moccasins like unsalvageable. I walked around in restaurants on our way home in socks instead.
Yikes.
I didn't mention that previously. I've always said that I couldn't save the boots, and I couldn't. I tried to save them when we got home, but no way in hell was I wearing those in a public place.
Like, right. You know, it's funny because there's a company up here, I believe, something of the North. Lure of the North. If Pine Martin is still here, he's got a set of their moccasins. I think they'd sell them as a DIY kit. Let me know if Martin, if you're still here. Do I have the name right? You know what? I'll just look them up. But they sell
Lure of the North.
They sell like a DIY kit that I have been looking to try. Like they have two versions, like a canvas uppers and then like hide uppers. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. I found it here.
These are pretty cool. Oh, they've got paint on rubber soles. Classic.
Yeah, that's an option that you can have, or you can just have the. Is it worth it sharing the screen? No, I'll just drop the URL in the side chat for anyone who wants.
It's funny. So paint on rubber soles. I experimented with that for a while. They're okay. The big thing I would say about paint on rubber soles is that they shred really easily because basically what it is barge cement with tire shavings.
Okay.
It's like shoe goop that obviously barge cement will kick itself once it's out in the open air and it turns into kind of like a pseudo rubbery thing. It sticks to leather very well. They use it to construct shoes. Thank you.
Right.
But because it's tire shavings, there's no continuous piece of anything for the barge cement to stick to, so it shreds. What I did find is that getting these flat, big pieces of soling material, this is like a 4-iron sole, something really thin. This is less than a centimeter, and it's flat. So if you try to wear these, you need to get used to the heel strike you're going to get walking in them. But
I like better. For me, I would like to get a pair of those Lure of the North with nothing on the bottom, but wear them purely for winter hiking.
Oh, that'd be nice.
You know,
it'd be interesting though.
For summer hiking, I would feel that I would need some sort of a sole on the bottom, either that paint on stuff or what you're talking about. You know,
it's funny. It's funny because the first thing that made me think of was the those rubber mats you put on staircases during the winter.
Yep.
That's the first thing I thought of.
SV Raven Flintlock says Hap Wilson was wearing a crepe sole mock that he admired. Wouldn't mind a pair. Anyone see those? Who makes them? Does anyone know who Hap Wilson's? Who makes Hap? Oh, land sakes! I'm gonna start that whole sentence again. Does anyone here know which moccasins Hap Wilson was wearing? Also, Tyler, I just figured out what you were doing with this because Michigan is like the Upper Peninsula, and then there's that Mittany part, right? Is that called the Lower Peninsula or something?
Yes, Lower Peninsula, Upper Peninsula.
And there is someone else in the side chat who I believe is from Michigan, but I don't remember whom.
Is it ever right to use the word whom? I never know.
Yes, of course. That's right. It's not. I don't think I used it right, but there are cases in which this belongs to whom rather than this belongs to who. To whom am I speaking rather than who am I speaking to?
Crepe sole moccasins. I know that Minnetonka still makes some.
Yeah,
I can look and see. I don't know if they are cheaper shipping to Canada, but US dollars they're hovering like $70 to $100 depending on what you get. To get into walking in moccasins, I mean, they last a long time, so Minnetonka's a good company.
Well, these Lure of the North, the ones with the hide uppers, they start at like $160 Canadian for the kit.
Yeah.
Not the built one, not the pre-made ones, the kit. So $70 to $100. Well, it's American, but no, that's still. I'm doing the math in my head, and after shipping, it probably comes out to about the same.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close.
Shipping
always screws you over.
Shipping and whatever they call it at the border, duty. Raven Flint. Okay, SV Raven Flint. Jesus. I'm not even drinking much. SV, Raven Flintlock is from the Mitten. Which side of the Mitten are you from, SV?
I'm from Lake Michigan side.
So is that the west?
Yes. I keep forgetting that, like, not everyone knows and memorized the Great Lakes. That's something we all do as kids.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. This, well, it's a little bit mirrored for you guys, but you can imagine.
Yeah.
This one's Michigan. This one up here is Superior, and then this one's Huron.
Yeah, Huron. That's what I was thinking.
And then you got, Ontario and Erie and stuff over there.
Kat Mack says that she had a seamster boyfriend who made sole leather boots. We're Klug boot bottom. What's a Klug boot? Bottom?
What is a Klug boot bottom?
Isn't that normally like wood?
No, that's a clog.
Clog. Okay.
Okay, SV or Jim is from the Sunrise side, the east. So that would be like, is that Ontario?
No, it's Huron.
Huron?
Yep.
Hopefully it's not too deep in Detroit.
I'm sort of remembering there's a song that my daughter learned to learn all the lakes, but it was in French, so I'm not going to bother.
You don't want to sing in French for everyone?
I'm trying to remember the song.
You have to remember it out loud.
He's just trying to avoid the sing. Period.
All I remember from it was that it was like supérieur, rieur at the end to make it fit with the rhythm.
So if we asked you to sing for us, even if it wasn't this lake song, would you do it?
I don't sing for free.
I think I know your PayPal. I could manage this.
Hey, that's enough.
I got
this for you.
Oh,
Right
good,
here.
Tooney. Yeah, Max says that these Klug boots, or is that Klug boots? Or Klug boot bottoms are like tire treads.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And Jim is from north of Detroit, north of Saginaw Bay, right?
Oh, the pretty
on
side
Huron.
of the eastern part. Yeah. Saginaw Bay is beautiful.
Like the only Great Lakes séjour I've ever had was right on the point of Bruce Peninsula, right? So Georgian Bay, Lake Huron. Stand there, Georgian Bay, Lake Huron.
What was that? 2 years ago? Was that it?
2 or 3. I think it was the year before COVID killed us all.
Right.
So 3 years ago.
There's a lot of fun history to explore in the lakes if you ever get the time to look around. Huron side, not so much, just because it's so developed nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you start at Detroit, then you go up, and you get into Midland and Saginaw, and it all is just kind of like artsy cities mostly. But on the western side, I mean, you can get into a lot of cool stuff. Most of the islands, even still on the western side, are pretty left to their own. I've been to North Manitou and Fox Island and all that. So it's like Leelanau's here, North Manitou's out in the lake, and with Fox Island and South Manitou. All of that is still pretty much preserved historically. North Manitou still has some of the buildings. It was originally settled shortly, and then I can't remember why, they stopped settling the island. And then it eventually, just after the families moved out, became a nature preserve.
Nice.
But it's recent enough that people still have rights to be buried there. So while you're hiking the island, you can see the homes and some of the cars and the old railway grades where they used to take in supplies and whatnot from the ferry.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool to see some of that stuff. But the Great Lakes was very trade oriented like that. So there's a lot of it around, especially on the western side of the state.
Yeah. Canadian says that he has.
Sorry,
I was just going to say that Canadian says he has a buddy with 300 acres on Flint River. Would that be a river that Flint, Michigan is named after?
Maybe. I don't know. Flint River goes through Flint. I thought Flint was pretty far inland.
I don't know either. I was just
Yeah.
Whoops.
No idea.
At White's Bridge Road.
Looks like
Yeah.
it.
I don't know a thing about Michigan except that it's got a mitten and an Upper Peninsula. That's it. And like there's a little chunk of it up north, right? Separated from everything else.
I mean, the Upper Peninsula. That's about it.
Really? Okay. For some reason, I thought there was like this little.
We technically own Isle Royal.
Technically. Who else thinks they own Isle Royal?
There was some conflict with Canadians once upon a time about
Oh,
Isle
was there?
Royal, I believe.
I
Oh,
vaguely
we've had
remember
a-
something.
We had a few conflicts, so you know.
Yeah.
No, what I was gonna say before was that I learned fairly recently that in the Great Lakes there's a lot of shipwrecks.
Yeah. Especially up around like Flower Pot Island and stuff. They have like 33,
Yeah.
I think it is.
The
Yeah,
whole
that
bunch.
they know of. Yeah.
Yeah, that they know of. Like,
Yeah, that they know of. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well-
found that interesting because a lot of them they're some date back over 100 years. You know, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. You think
Well,
of
the
the
thing-
Caribbeans or something, not the Great Lakes. You know.
The thing is, the thing about the Great Lakes is that they're great in the sense of they're freaking huge. So
Mhm.
if a storm comes rolling in, it can be really, really rough. Like a lot of ships get lost, just like the Edmund Fitzgerald, for instance. A storm rolls up, catches you, snaps you in half, sends you to the bottom, kind of thing. So like around Flower Pot Island, there was also issues with navigation, like navigability. But like I would not want to be in a 30-foot sailboat in the middle of Lake Superior if a storm rolls in. And I would like to spend a lot of other instances in a 30-foot sailboat. So I mean, like I'm not totally surprised about the epic shipwreckage, but I don't know. Like, is that all sort of up in the Canadian side, or is there a lot of shipwrecks throughout?
As far as I know, I think there's some by Marquette, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there's a few like scattered across all 5 lakes. So
Yeah.
The Charles J. Shirkaw, Deludi, George Nestor, and Queen City are the notable shipwrecks, it looks like. Off of Marquette, that is.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, large bodies of water get really dangerous when there's a lot of wind and stuff happening. I mean, you look at a globe and the Great Lakes don't look like they're that big, but they're really big, dude.
They're inland seas. They're not
Yeah.
really, they're just happen to be fresh water.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And glaciers came through and scooped everything out, and now we have some inland seas that are fresh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't drink from them personally.
Yeah, well, fresh is a funny term to use.
Fresh as in not brackish, not
Yes,
as in
exactly.
drinkable. Maybe go a little inland and then still be cautious.
SV Raven Flintlock just said something interesting. The Great Lakes waves tend to be much shorter wavelength, but still tall.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that makes them even more dangerous, though.
Choppy.
Yeah.
It's easy to get swept out in them. I know as a kid that they would not let us out. I can remember as a kid being let out smaller lengths than at like a small lake beach
Mm-hmm.
because of that reason, because the differences in tide are really, really high in the Great Lakes.
Right.
We used to go like swimming at lighthouses and stuff on the western side of the state. And there would be times where they would bring like the buoys like way up and be like, this is stupid. But, then within 5-10 minutes, of course, the waves are like over your head. So,
Yeah. Right. Nature is just magical in some ways, dangerously magical. Like, I don't mean that in a benevolent sense. I mean, just the forces happening around us that we have no control over Yeah, cool stuff. Like, get off on this stuff, man. I love trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Even though it's basic physics, I get it.
But to have like the immortality to sit there and watch the glaciers scoop out the state or something, you know?
Watch a mountain grow and then get worn down. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, no one alive will necessarily see something like that, you know?
We are very, very short-lived.
Well,
compared
unless you
to
go to like Iceland or Greenland, where the ice caps are melting and stuff, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah. Wow. Check this out. Raven says, I stumbled across a 65-foot wreck in 8 feet of water in Huron.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big wreck.
That must have
is a
been
big-
creepy. Yes.
Ooh, you
Was
found
it-
bodies?
Now, what I wanted to know was,
Any bones?
now I'm wondering, was it a boat? A boat. Jeez,
Yes.
a wooden boat or something more modern?
That's actually an interesting question.
It's funny you're talking about all the shipwrecks because the Great Lakes were kind of the what's the word? Nexus, kind of like a trade nexus for Canada and Michigan and further down the Mississippi and all that.
Well,
Here,
it's crazy because like for the longest time, like people thought like no boats were like on the Great Lakes for like till they built the canal there in Montreal, basically the international seaway there. Basically because you couldn't have like larger ships, and even before that the Lachine Canal, but they actually had boats being built past like Niagara Falls, and they would travel the waters because I think Huron, Michigan, and Lake Superior, I think all three are the same height at the sea level, if my memory serves me right. Because technically,
as far as I know, that's right.
I think technically, Huron and Michigan, they're actually the same lake. They're actually one big lake. So it's like you can navigate from one side to the other without any issues.
They ran aground and burned.
Yeah. Oh, that's messed up.
So I'm just trying to think here. Niagara Falls is sort of around-ish Toronto, right?
Yeah, it's in between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario.
So if you're a Laker, how do you get past Niagara Falls to get to the St. Lawrence?
Well, that's the thing. At the time, they just used the boats to get from one side to Niagara Falls. Then they would put the stuff on another boat and ship it down to Montreal. Like a portage, if you will.
Okay.
But it's crazy that they used to do that at the time, Of course, many of the boats weren't huge, but like he was saying, something like 50, 60 feet still.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
Still,
I don't know. We're diving into levels of knowledge about the Great Lakes that I just don't have, right? So, like, to me, I'm just trying to imagine everything. But I do know, like, there are Lakers that come to the Port of Montreal that are pretty freaking huge, right? It's got to be a lock somewhere.
Well, now there is, but at the time there wasn't.
Is that the Sioux?
I think so, but I don't remember.
It is? Okay.
As far as I know, right? Isn't that the Sioux Locks?
I think so, but
it's the only thing I can think of. It's the only thing I can think of.
But all I know is that you did have boats at the time, which remained on the Great Lakes because you can't. They weren't able to cross over.
Look,
So
the Great
they-
Lakes are big enough that you could have a big freaking boat that never leaves,
Yeah,
and it's still,
exactly.
traveling.
Feasible.
Yeah.
It's feasible to actually build a large boat just because the time is going to save you to travel by water instead of by land,
Yeah. Mark says, I just I realized I should probably take a quick peek at the side chat at some point tonight. Niagara is circumnavigated by the Welland Canal. So I know Welland. See, I don't know Locks, Sault Ste. Marie, Welland. I don't know where all this stuff connects. So it's anyway.
That just like the history, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, goods have to flow, right? That's what it's all about, right? Business must continue. Goods have to flow. Cargo must move. Because otherwise, people ain't making money.
I just think it's so interesting because Michigan and all of that was settled early enough that there was a lot of pre-industrial trade going on still. And there's enough history there to look at pre-industrial trade in the Americas from Michigan. I mean, Michigan was where it kind of started and moved from just because of the waterways.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool to think about all of that stuff moving pre-steamboats.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to remember Hudson's Bay. They didn't cross the Great Lakes, right? They were only north, right?
Well, I mean, they owned Rupert's Land, right? So how far did Rupert's Land go? That'll tell us.
Yeah.
Right? Because before, a lot of that ended up American, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so, but I just don't remember.
I got the Wikipedia open in front of me here. Okay. Oh, no.
Boy.
It didn't go that far south. Just a little. No, it didn't touch the Great Lakes at all. So, I mean, maybe they didn't go too far south. I just don't know these things. This is all stuff I just don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like I must read now. I must read. You guys chat. I must read.
I've been waiting to take over the channel for a while. This is now a D&D and flag channel.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Here's my password.
Let me get the binder out. All right, everyone, roll up your characters.
Oh my God, dude, I have not rolled up a character since I was 14. 15 maybe.
I think I must have been like 19 or 20 or something like that. I think that was the last time.
Yeah.
If I can find time to do it in an engineering degree, I can at least convince you could try.
You have an engineering degree?
Right now I'm in one, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Interesting.
is busy. I'm actually doing my machine tool certifications right now, which I am loving.
I'm sure of it.
It is so fun.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm taking currently a class in electrical circuitry, and all the math with diodes and stuff like that. I'm like, oh geez, what did I get myself into?
We will be sharing notes pretty soon here. My specific degree is electromech, so electromechanical engineering. So maybe I'll just have to call you and bum your notes. Might be the same book.
Yeah, maybe, maybe not.
I think Serge's book might be in French. Are you taking the course in French?
Yeah, I'm taking the course in French because, that's why I'm in. I moved to Rivière-du-Loup because they're the only place that would offer the course that they had space open. So.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, what? Rivière-du-Loup is the only place that offers the course.
Well, I wanted to start as early as possible, and the schools in Montreal, there's no guarantees I was going to start the year after.
Yeah. I get it.
So I was like, no. I got to start now, and it was here or in Abitibi. So I'm like, yes. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to Rivière-du-Loup.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, never mind. I was gonna say, for those of you who are doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Fair enough. Let's just say that Serge made the right choice and leave it at that.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good.
Actually, it's funny because it just makes me think. Well, earlier when Tyler was talking about his little story about getting lost, well, not lost, but like going through the bog and everything like that. I have a
Serge, wait. No. The most important aspect of the story. When Tyler was talking about destroying a beautiful pair
destroying. That's right.
of moccasins. Now you may continue.
Exactly. Well, I kind of realized that I'm gonna have to get some better boots because, well, the girlfriend, she hunts. I'm not gonna go into hunting, but well, maybe I'm gonna get my license eventually. But anyway, I digress. But she wanted to go on one complete opposite end of the property, so we went to scope out the area the night before.
Okay.
We're out there. We decided to go out for some dumbass reason at like 10 p.m.
What are you doing, Holmes?
Yeah. So here we are. I'm like following her. She's like, "Oh, it's in this direction. It like leads up to the little trail you cut." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I'm following her. I'm like, I feel like we're not going in the right direction. So then I take out my phone. I'm like looking at the the map. I'm like, yeah, we're in the neighbors. Like, we're not at our place no more.
Yeah.
So like, I think you're lost.
Yeah.
So okay, I think it's in this direction. But I'm gonna keep following you just in case, like, maybe she snaked in one area and then she comes back. I don't know. But no, we kept going off, and that's it. Like we're in this area which is like I'm trying to think here. It's not really a bog because there's actually water flowing, but I think the like maybe in the spring it overflows. So it's starting to be a little similar. So it's kind of like really damp. And here I am with like, I'm just wearing shoes. They're hiking shoes.
They were hiking shoes.
Well, no, they're still hiking shoes. It's just, it's moist, it's wet.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got close to getting it over the laces. So I'm like, oof, I almost got my feet really wet there.
Yeah.
But yeah, after a while, I'm like, no, hold on. Let me just look at my phone again. We're like completely off. We got to go that way, not this way,
Right.
So next
You
thing
need to
you
get
know,
some rubber boots.
oh, and then we went back onto our property, but we have this region which I forgot what they're called. These stupid plants. They're like it's small like branches about like this big. And the bark is red, and it's like maybe this high at the most, like maybe 2 meters, let's say, at the very most. But the thing is, it's I don't know what they're called, but it's those plants that when they kind of like touch the ground, they start making roots, and they just grow thicker and thicker and thicker. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but anyway, trying to walk through that crap, it was hell.
Because it's like a web almost of.
Yeah, exactly. It was I forgot what it's called, but anyway, it's yeah. I feel like swearing, but I'm not going to. But anyway, all that to say, we finally find the route, and then at one point we're like, okay, well, I think this is the corner of the lot. And she wanted to put down some carrots and like a rotting wood, like a dead tree, like a what's it called? Thank you, Simo. And she wanted to put like salt on some wood. So I'm like, oh, here's like a dead log right here. I rip it out. It's the post. It's the corner post. I'm like, what the hell? So at least we found the good corner of our lot. But
did you say she wanted to put some salt on wood?
Yeah, to attract the deer.
Oh, like a salt lick. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to kind of
Yeah, sorry. Well, I told you she's
It's
a
like-
hunter.
She wanted to spread some salt on the wood. I'm like, what magic is she working? Is this like
and
to
carrots
attract
and
spirits?
carrots.
Carrots.
Yes, carrots and yeah, you're right. A salt lick.
By the way, Serge, Canadian is
Yes.
asking if your hiking shoes were Gore-Tex at least.
No, but they're leather.
Leather can
no.
be good.
Leather
Yeah,
can be great. Leather's amazing. It's fabulous.
Yeah, I love leather, but but I digress. But anyway, by the time we were done, it was supposed to be a 5-minute trek. We got back in. It was like past 11. That means we're out for over an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! It's like I felt like I was on the wild goose chase. But I laughed about it.
You're reminding me of that trip that I mentioned a couple of times in these live streams, where the first time that that was close, that the missus and I used our snowshoes, where we were up there near Tremblant somewhere, and there was like we had the map, easy little beginner's loop, fine. Intermediate loop that goes up a mountain and comes back, and we're like doop de doop de doop de doop, and at some point we took the turn off onto the intermediate loop on our first time on snowshoes, but we left at like 3:30 4 p.m.
Ooh.
right in the middle of the dark half of the year, and we're up near wherever. Just by some miracle, we got back. Just okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. I blame the map.
It's not a error 18.
No, of course not. Of course not. It's the map. Because like I that was not going to lead into the sentence properly. Let me just come at it the other way. I often complain about the maps that you get at like the CIPAC or national parks or whatever. They show the trails, but like you're looking at like in front of you, the trail sort of does this and this and this, and it's nowhere on the map, but you know where you are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was definitely a case of that, where it was like the turnoff on the printed map looked very different. Of course it did, than the trees and stuff around us, but it was not our fault, okay?
Well, I've never misread a map in my entire life.
You are such a lion sack of stones.
That or it hasn't happened yet. Yet being the operative word. Oh,
not once.
That's like a whole.
Not once. I have not yet not misread a map.
Well, Chickadee is in bed already. I'm probably gonna head off and get ready to snooze. But glad talking about misreading maps and destroying boots with you all.
Yeah. Made me feel better about myself. Have a good night.
All right, good night, Tyler. I don't know if I'm gonna get moccasins, but yeah, boots. I think it's definitely on my list of.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't get these. I wouldn't get the moccasins as my main winter footwear. Absolutely not. Like in urban Montreal, are you kidding? With all that salt they threw there everywhere. Like within a month and a half, I'd be walking on socks. Like just have the uppers and have them disintegrate into just nothing but socks at the, Hold on a second. Just answering Cat Mac.
No problem. But no, definitely. I discovered I'm gonna need something that's a little bit more waterproof, and that's gonna go a little higher than my current shoes. I mean, they performed well. Yeah. I'm trying to think what the brand is. Not that I'm being paid for that. I think they're
This
Merrells,
is not a subsidized. What is not subsidized? What's the word I'm looking for?
Sponsored.
Sponsored, yes. Yeah.
It's not. I'm not being sponsored. I should hide my drums there in the back there.
Yeah, what
It's
are you
like-
doing with all them drums? I didn't know you had a drum set.
Yeah, I've been playing drums for like, geez, this is 20 years now or more. But like, they were in storage for a long time when I lived in the
Okay.
apartment. So
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna play that in the apartment for sure.
For sure.
But no, eventually, this room's gonna probably be one of my girls' rooms once I finish the attic.
Judging by the paint job,
Yeah, well,
I'm
it's still
unsurprised.
the original paint. The wallpaper over here is atrocious. I'll turn it around just to show it. It's like this disgusting floral thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't look depressing at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna go eventually.
Okay.
But
Good to
no,
know.
there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. So, but one step at a time.
Yeah.
We
But
still
I mean,
have
you
a
know,
lot
like,
of stuff. Sorry.
think of it this way. I've been in this place for 8 years, and we keep finding stuff that needs to be done. There's always stuff that needs to be done. And we don't have acres around us.
Well,
By
that's
the way.
a huge distraction as well, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's
get
it.
it.
Like last week, we're freaking out because we have a plantation, pine plantation, I think, and I think it's pine.
Like a tree farm?
Yeah, tree farm. We have like I don't know, maybe a good acre or two, which is just like trees all lined up, you know. I'm guessing it's about maybe 20, 25 years old so far.
So they're about ready to be
So-
pulled out. But
Yeah,
I'm
well,
surprised
they-
that it's pines. Like it's not more like firs or spruces, right? Like the ones that are more like a cone shape. Is it really
Maybe
pines?
I'm. You know what? It might be spruces. No, they're not spruces. They're definitely not spruce, but it could be firs. That's true. I'm not that knowledgeable on my evergreens, unfortunately. But
You got to get knowledgeable, okay? You
I
gotta
know.
everything.
I
You
know.
got to know everything. You got to be like the knowledge king when it comes to your evergreens.
Yeah. Well,
Just let me
especially
know.
what I have on my land there, all the different kind of trees we've got.
Man, look
got,
at all I got on my land. Jesse doesn't have any of that.
Just twisting the knife a little bit.
It's like a cleaver. You're twisting a cleaver. That would
But
hurt.
that's it. Just say that in that region of our on our lot, we have full of deer tracks.
Oh wow! Okay,
It's crazy.
nice.
Like the whole area is just full. So
And does
we're
your,
like, holy crap.
Does your missus hunt rifle or bow or muzzleloader?
Her, it's rifle and crossbow.
Okay, which is pretty much what I was aiming to be when I stopped hunting as well. Rifle and crossbow was going to be my. Although I really wanted a nice muzzleloader. We're not going to talk guns.
No.
We're
But,
moving right the hell along. But yeah, if you're
Well,
seeing
you
that
know.
many tracks, that's good. That's nice. That means you might be eating some good meat this year.
Yeah. Well, I had to make sure that the freezer was working downstairs. The plug that we had wasn't functioning properly. Actually, the breaker wasn't functioning properly. So, oh, you finished the whiskey.
There ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Oh, Tyler, I sang. Damn, I said I wasn't gonna. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's true. Oh, good thing it's recorded. I'm gonna have to send Tyler a message saying, "Yeah, at about an hour 40, Jesse,
Yeah,
you're sang finally."
22:41. Yeah, a full half bar. Hold on a second. Oh, Cat Max got to replace her roof again. That's an expensive job. Is that my
Oh,
teapot?
God.
No, that's not a teapot. I do have teapots. But... Oh, so today I'm sitting there at the kitchen counter and I'm working because I'm working upstairs because the light's better right now. I decided to make a teapot instead of like cup of tea,
Mm-hmm.
and end up with tea all over my lap and all over the floor. So tomorrow I'm going right back to cup of tea. Yeah, damn it. Where were we? Yeah, so if you got that many deer tracks, that's good. That's wow. The thing is, they could all be female, right?
No.
Oh no, you saw like some stag marks.
Well, the thing was, no, we haven't seen any stag marks, but I saw the stag.
That works.
So I didn't see him clearly. I couldn't see how, like, what kind of antlers he had. Like, you know, if it was like I'm positive it's minimum a 6 point.
Wow. Okay.
So he's big.
Yeah.
Did I send you the pictures?
No.
No, I should send you a picture.
You should send me the pictures.
It's a picture of basically the footprint of the stag.
I think I did see those pictures. Did you post them? Yeah. In return, I'll send you pictures of the birds I get at my bird feeders.
Yeah, well, that's it.
It's
like
nature, right?
Exactly. it counts. It counts.
It counts. Okay, it counts.
I got some bird feeders too, and
Nice.
It's attracting blue jays though.
We had blue jays at one point. Man, your brother, man, he's got a. Here's the damn thing.
Know.
Here's the damn thing. Here's what I. Here's what I'm using to shoot my my bird photography. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This lens is not big enough to get to the arse end of my yard without. Like I want way more sort of close-up shots. This is a 70 to 200 millimeter. What the hell does your brother use? Because his shots are epic.
I think, if my memory serves me right, it's a 600 millimeter.
6. Jesus, that's money.
Yeah, but I think he bought it used, or is it 400? It's either 400 or 600. I forget.
Hey, Dennis is here late again. It's okay, Dennis. Don't worry about it.
Good job, Dennis.
A 400 is what I'd like, but even that's like, I looked at the 400 in this series of the camera. Sorry, I'm pointing at the flag. At this series of the camera, and that's like a $14,000 lens, and I just like, no, that can't happen. I cannot spend that money. I'm not a professional like shooting for National Geographic or anything, but I would love something bigger than this for shooting birds.
I'm trying to remember. For shooting birds. Actually, do I have my camera
for photographing birds?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the camera now because the camera that I got, my large lens is not that much smaller than his, and I mean, yeah, I can't get as close as he does, but it's still pretty good, you know. It's like I still get like comparable. Yeah, okay, I have a 300 millimeter.
3. So even that would be better. What are you going? That looks. Are you using a Nikon though?
No, it's a Canon.
It's a Canon.
Canon, and not a paid endorsement. Right. But yeah, it's written right there. It's 300.
300. Like maybe I need something more like that because that's more their consumer level.
Yeah,
I cannot afford. Yeah.
And it wasn't that expensive. I'm trying to remember how much I paid for it. Well, I paid the whole thing $450.
Wow.
Camera, the lens, secondhand. I also got like the regular lens.
Nice.
And I got what is it, the 50 millimeter?
You need a 50.
So you know, considering what I got, it's amazing, you know. But just to say that the 300 millimeter does a pretty decent job, you know. Again, it doesn't get as close as Alain's shots, but
I need to find out what Alain uses because I need something more than my 200. Dennis,
how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I'm doing better by the glass.
You know what? I haven't even cracked a beer tonight.
Really?
Yeah. I've been on a Chaga Tea and water kick lately. So.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned Chaga tea because I have yet to successfully discover Chaga in the wild. I found like the other one, the horseshoe fungus that looks like Chaga. I made some really nice like a fire starting thing for my flint and steel with that. But I have never seen Chaga. And I've been told that, like, dude, once you find it the first time, you got the knack. But
I found 3 nice pieces on my last trip.
Did you?
Two are like mitt size, right? And then the other one is like
wow.
good chunk. So I even got the wife drinking it now.
Well, I've never tasted it. And like because near me, there's a sort of an organic what's an épicerie in English?
A health food store?
No,
grocery store.
Yes, an organic grocery store, and so they sell a chaga, like chunks that you make tea with and everything, but it's really freaking expensive, like hugely expensive. And I'm like, what if I don't like it?
You know what? It doesn't have much flavor. It has like mild vanilla notes to it.
Okay,
but I usually add a little. You could drink it just like you would coffee. You could add milk or cream and sugar to it or whatever, right? And that's where your real flavor comes from. My wife uses the Chaga tea, but she pours it over what do you call it? Peppermint tea bag.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right.
So it adds the peppermint flavor.
Yeah, so it adds the peppermint flavor, and I don't think it diminishes the health qualities of it at all. Just different ways to prepare it, right?
Even peppermint's got some nice qualities.
There, Jess, I'll see how much I got there because I'm using some of it for my son-in-law and daughter-in-law for Christmas gifts because they love the stuff too. Okay. But if I'll see what I got and I'll send you some.
Look what Russell just said.
Oh, there you go.
You guys. You're both beautiful men.
You could brew a nice pot of that on your twig stove.
I was about to say if I'm ever gonna buy some, I think I'd buy some from Sean James, just because.
Yeah.
For the packaging, right?
Yeah, all packaging and to support the guy because I like his videos and.
Does he actually sell it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he harvests the stuff and he sells it. I guess he comes across it pretty often.
Is he up in the Boreal? Like Russell knows this. I sent Russell the link to get on screen, but I guess he just doesn't feel it.
I don't think he's in the concerted Boreal.
He's not in the Boreal.
He's just about Algonquin Park. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here's my dream, guys. Man.
He goes paddling with Nate Muskoka, right?
Shut up.
And he's from Huntsville. Right?
I have got to get my ass to Huntsville so I can meet at least one other YouTuber in this lifetime. I would love, like, if I won the lottery, I would find a piece of the Boreal. There's a smell to the Boreal. There's a look to the Boreal. There's a feel to the Boreal that the first time I was in the Boreal forest, it felt different. Like down around Montreal, it's, what the hell is it called? Mixed broadleaf? No, it's like partly broadleaf, partly coniferous. I don't know what this forest is called, but there's something about the Boreal that's just magical. Yeah, but like it's a mix of deciduous and coniferous trees, and there's like a term for the forest zone that Montreal is in. He says, I
think you're right with the Boreal. Yeah.
But like you go like a few hours, like 5 hours, and it's funny because Quebec's cultural makeup includes this concept of the Boreal, even though the vast majority of the population lives nowhere near the Boreal. But like, there's a brewery called Boreal, or no, not the brewery, but there's a beer called Boreal. There's a printing press, like a bookmaker called Boreal or Borealis. There's like, we use the word Boreal like you guys would not believe. And the vast majority of the population has probably never even seen the Boreal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like you go up around Saguenay, Saguenay is in the Boreal.
Yeah. Actually, the where I am, if you just go on the other side of the Fleuve Saint-Laurent, the Gulf of St. Lawrence.
Yep.
It's actually technically
That's boreal.
boreal.
Yeah.
And I'd say even the region that I'm currently living in, it's not boreal, but I could tell the flora is not the same. There's a lot more carnivorous trees. It's not the same thing than when I was in Montreal.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's not the same thing around here at all. I love what SV Raven Flintlock said. As soon as I get my mouse to the other side of these two screens, I will show you guys. Jesus! As soon as rifle season ends in Michigan, I'm going to look for some Chaga. Like, as soon as rifle season ends. You know?
AKA, I don't want to get shot.
I don't want to die for Chaga.
Yeah, that ain't worth it. It's a pretty high cost.
Yeah, that's a high price thing. Even with your little orange vest or orange toque or whatever, it's like, I'm gonna stay out of the woods.
Well, I'm kind of like nervous where I'm living right now because I go because technically the law says that you're allowed to hunt 100 meters away from a house.
A house,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, habitat. And since I'm on a dirt road, that doesn't count.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah. So basically, they could shoot from the dirt road because it's not a paved road.
The thing that, 100 meters, it ain't that far compared to where even a 22 can shoot to.
No, exactly. That's why I'm a little antsy. It's like if I walk like too far out, I clearly have to wear a vest.
You need to be in blaze orange from the top all the way to the bottom.
Basically.
And your undies. Or you can only go
in a diaper.
And a diaper. You hear the crack of a bullet and okay, stop. That's disgusting. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I brought you there.
Had to take us there. Cat Mac says, show. What? Oh, there. There's an off-grid song in that. I don't want to die for Chaga. I gotta rap me that song. It's gonna be like straight up country, right? Like fiddle, steel, like a lap guitar, the whole thing. I don't want to die for Chaga.
You think a banjo's involved?
There's always a banjo involved. Come on. Come on, man. I guess a banjo is actually more bluegrass than country, really, though.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a pub here in downtown Montreal called Grumpy's that has a bluegrass night at, like, I think it's every Tuesday night. I mean, I can't do it because I'm here with you guys. But I've gone a couple of times. I'm not a big fan of bluegrass, so I will tell you, I don't really love the bluegrass. But what's interesting about bluegrass is, because of the band I'm in, I am well steeped in Celtic music. And it's very, very clear that the settlers who gave us bluegrass were from Irish and Scottish stock. It's very clear that bluegrass comes from Celtic music.
Well, even music here in Quebec, the was it rigadon or something like that?
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah,
it's
Celtic music in French.
It's Celtic music, big time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why, like, Bottine Souriante keeps showing up in Celtic festivals everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Dennis.
Yeah, man.
Shite, where is it? Somebody said something to you. Yes. SV Raven Flintlock says, Dennis, so looking forward to watching your Adam interview. I never get to listen live. And it's funny because, except for tonight, I always start with a certain housekeeping thing, right? If at any point tonight you like what you're seeing or hearing, boom. If you don't like what you're seeing or listening, boom. By the way, if you're watching me time shifted to tomorrow or next week, thanks, man. And like, I watch you time shifted all the time because I just can't get the kids to bed and supper cleared away and blah, blah, blah. Like, I run to be on time for my own live stream. So I always watch you the day after or sometimes the week after. And that's part of the reason why I'm so aware of, like, there are like 2 or 3 people who watch my whole freaking live stream the next day, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Just watch Dennis's stuff. He's interviewing people,
Right.
you know.
Your shows are interesting.
But,
Yeah.
Reason why not?
Like I watched the one last week, Time Shift as well. With LT was on. Was that last week or the week before?
Oh yeah,
That was the one
week
with
before.
Jason Irwin. Oh, you're talking about Jess's show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I always watch your shows time shifted, and it's funny that like when you're watching them time shifted, you can't participate in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But the conversation isn't as big a deal anymore. Like if I'm watching like Dennis's show time shifted, I'm not paying attention to the conversation at all because I can't answer anything, right? But what that means is like what's happening in the side conversation here, and even I've noticed the few times I've been watching Dennis live while trying to put a kid to bed. There's a lot of conversation happening in those side chats.
Yep.
Whereas because I can't really participate, I just disregard it completely. The side chat that plays no part in my enjoyment of the live stream at that point.
I do the same thing also because, like, I can't put in my dumbass comments.
I can give you guys a suggestion.
Sure.
Listen, if you have connectivity in your car, listen to a live stream as a podcast. You can if you can connect to through Bluetooth, right? What I do usually with a live stream or something, there's a couple that I can't really catch.
Yeah.
And I'll listen to them in the car almost like a podcast. So basically I'll pull up the show on YouTube and it goes through my Bluetooth into the vehicle and I could just listen to it. I don't even have to read comments. I don't have to watch. I just listen.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's a great way to do it. And I thought of that. Well, I come onto that through a few people who said, yeah, I listened to your show in the car as a podcast through YouTube.
What a freaking wicked idea.
Yeah. And it, you know what? Sometimes I just don't want to listen to music. I want to listen to something different, like, Paddling Adventures Radio or something like that, like podcasts to do with the outdoors.
Yep.
I said, yeah, why can't I do that with YouTube as well?
I thought about doing that in the past, but my only issue with that is that I'm going to bust my data.
Yeah, I have unlimited data.
Yeah.
What's happening instead is they throttle my speed above a certain amount, whatever. I could probably remember it if I hadn't just had some scotches. But yeah, that's a great idea.
You're not going to do it every single day, right?
This is true.
Doing it once a week.
Yeah.
By the way, Dennis, SV Raven is going to pick up the book.
Yeah, you know what? Great book. Great book. The Whisper on the Night Wind by Adam Schultz.
Yeah.
Anybody out there, it's a fantastic read. It's a little different for something that Adam has put out with his past 3 books. But I'm not much of a reader. And I read that in 5 sittings.
It's funny, Dennis, that you say that because I used to be an avid, voracious reader, and I still am, but it's changed. I would be the type who would go through who would devour 3 books in a week, kind of thing.
Oh God, I wish.
And then, well, here's the thing: I worked in publishing for 20 years and stopped reading outside of work because I spent 8 hours of every day reading. And I'm fighting real hard to get that back. And it's funny. I have a whole shelf full of... Who's that? Oh, Mark. Okay, bye, monsieur. I have an entire shelf full of books that I revisit. Here's the thing. When life gets too heavy, right? When I'm way too stressed or anxious, I really like science fiction. Hard science fiction. Like guys like Greg Bear and stuff like that. So I've got them there for if life gets too hard. But I find that I will start a book and it'll just sit there. I'll read a night or I'll read 2 nights in a row and then just sort of forget about it. I have this terrific book that my wife bought for me. I was about to use her name. Then I would have died. About the way the the trails on the Bruce Peninsula came to be. That whole the Bruce.
Bruce Trail.
Thank you. I've had a couple of drinks. Sorry, but like about how that trail came to be. Right? It's a big book. It's kind of written in a previous generation way, so it's hard to really connect with. But the information is so interesting that I keep just sort of I'm going to read it anyway. Especially because, man, the way the Bruce Trail came together would never happen today. Would never in this over corporatized, over red taped world. Wouldn't have happened. There's no freaking way. I was going to say something brilliant, and you guys are both going to be highly impressed, but I don't know. Oh yeah, but like. So reading to me is something that I like the idea of, and I remember having the time to do a lot of, and I miss those days because reading was a great joy to me. Because I read with my whole mind. I don't read just with my, and it's something that I keep trying to instill in Camille. Read with your whole mind. Right? If you're reading a Harry Potter book, don't just read the words. Read the world. Bring it alive in your mind. Imagine the characters. Imagine the settings. Because the words are there to help your mind do that, And so I'm reading about this Bruce Trail, and I'm thinking about these areas because I've hiked a very small part of the Bruce Trail, and it's just freaking was not the word I was about to use. Freaking gorgeous, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like spectacular. And so while I'm reading about creating this trail, I'm imagining that small part that I hiked, but I'm kind of imagining it in that sort of really crappy color tone that 70s film gave you. Like how historically film was beautiful, and then in the 70s, whatever technology they tried washes everything out, so it's all this sort of like not even sepia, right? If it was sepia, it would be brilliant and historical, but in the 70s there was a real sort of washed out look that happens to photographs, and then it sort of picks up again after that. But so while I'm reading this book on the Bruce Trail, oh god, I'm being boring right now. Anyways, I'm going to finish and then we'll move on. While I'm reading this book on the Bruce Trail, I keep imagining these guys hiking this. There's no trail yet. They're marking the trail. They're marking the trail, right? They're creating the trail. They're saying this is where the trail is going to be. Can you imagine, like, you're hiking and you're deciding where the trail is going to be? What? And in my head, I see, like, you look at a picture from the 50s of a piece of land, and it's, pines and a blue sky and a lake. And you look at a picture from the 80s, and it's a pines, a blue sky, and a lake. 90s, 2010. The only thing that's really changed is the colors, right? Because the film became better and then just disappeared, and then the digital technology took over and became better. And so while I'm reading this book, because they're doing this a long time ago, I'm sort of seeing the area that they're talking about, kind of like those pictures from that era. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I mean when I say that I like to read with my mind rather than just reading the words. I like to. It happens in terms of images. Now, granted, I'm a victim of art school. Like, I spent my whole damn life in art school, whether it was the weekend classes at the whatever was the gallery, the provincial gallery in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, to graphic design school for Cégep, to film school for university. Like, I'm very bloody visual. So when I read, there's visual stuff happening. I don't remember what my point was going to be.
Do that a lot.
I'm sure your point was brilliant.
You're talking about reading and the visualities of living the moment and being there. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And it was going to link back to the
Glad
book that.
somebody's listening, Jeff.
Thanks. Somebody goddamn listening. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was going to link back to that book that you showed. That how, like I read so many more kind of bushcraft or, like Nesmik, Kephart, stuff like that. I read so much more of that now than I used to. But when life gets too big and too heavy, and my black dog sits on my shoulders just too hard, I'm diving for the science fiction shelf. That's as close to the point as I can probably come, because I lost my way somewhere there. I just got interested in what I was saying.
You're like me, a little bit of ADHD in there. It's like, oh, squirrel. Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the. Continue.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say because I do have a definite attention deficit disorder, whatever. So, reading a book for me is actually it's almost like torture, because sometimes I will read a page 3 times before it actually sinks in. Because I will read a word, and my mind will just go.
I can speak to what both of you just said. To Dennis, I'll say I have a really hard time with the idea of ADHD, in that I don't disbelieve in it, but I think that it's overrated.
Overemphasized.
I'm looking for the English word, strangely, that where the doctor tells you have something.
Overanalyzed.
Overprescribed. Over and under.
I am going to die looking for this word.
Diagnosed. Overdiagnosed.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I feel that it's overdiagnosed. I feel that there's a lot of medication being taken that doesn't have to be taken. But that's not the same as saying I don't disbelieve in ADHD. And the reason why this bugs me is because I will walk into the kitchen thinking I have to get Scotch tape, and I will make a cup of tea, toast some bread, put jam on the bread, take the tea and the bread out of the kitchen, walk down to the basement, sit down and think, this isn't what I went up there for.
Tape.
And this can be very disastrous if the wife asked me for the tape. Let me fucking tell you.
Son of a...
Yeah. So like whenever someone's talking about ADHD, I'm like, no. And like in the back of my head, it's like, oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. So I'm kind of afraid of like seeing a shrink and being told that I have this thing that I believe is over-diagnosed, So I just sort of, I dance away from it. Whenever that hits the conversation, I'm like, no, anything else to change the conversation.
Well, I have a feeling that it's almost like a lot more. It's not even something that should be diagnosed in a way. It's almost as if like everybody has this in one form or another. So it's like, is it really like a problem that should be medicated, or is it just a human condition?
Well, and here's a question: like, how much of hyperactivity? Because when I was a kid, I was called hyperactive, and I believe that is what they now call ADD or ADHD. One of those things.
ADHD, because okay. I have ADD. I'm not hyper.
How much of this might be related to one's upbringing? Like how much of this might be related to the way your parents brush you up? I don't know, by the way. I have no idea, and I'm not going to the maths. And if someone says because of this, I will just believe it, because
I relate it too much to life being too fast nowadays. There's just too much going on, technology and everything else that goes with it, right?
Yeah,
there's so much going on that there's so many distractions in life anymore.
Yeah,
there's just too much going on.
Absolutely.
It's just too fast anymore.
that
Absolutely.
definitely does not help. That's for sure. It
No.
does not help.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I have a feeling in a lot of cases it's just it's not a condition in my mind. It's something that most people have in some form or another, you know.
Yeah.
Some people are just more distracted than others, and I think that's the case with me. You know, it's very excruciating because I might try to be listening in class, and again, it's like it's something that interests me. It's something that I want to learn, and the teacher will again say a word, and that word will make me think of something else, and I'm gonna start thinking of that other thing. You know.
Now,
So
would that be, Serge, are you better with like a hands-on learning than like?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think I am too.
I need to see it. I need to hold on to it. No, it's being spewed out a bunch of information is not going to help me. But for some people, they have that level of concentration that they're capable of doing that. You know,
Yeah.
but it's not everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get it. I just realized it's like 11:15, and I told you guys
Yeah.
I was going to end it at 11 so I could go and practice some music for my gig on Saturday. So I'm
Yeah.
going to shut us down, which is too bad because this is actually getting kind of interesting in some ways. But anyways, I will be strong, and I will shut it down until next week. Between now and next week, please be safe, be healthy, be sane, and be kind to one another. Good night, folks.
Keep the adventures
See you
alive.
Have a good night.